I will be talking about the use of Pentacam in deciding when and how to do Smile Extra, or rather any extra procedure. So quite often we come across such topographies where either the cornea is thin, or there is an asymmetric bow tie pattern, or there is an inferior steepening, or just a posterior elevation in isolation, as we were discussing just now. So these are features of borderline or suspect topography, but sometimes if the other maps are not showing evidence of keratoconus, it is difficult to label them as keratoconus as such. And in these cases, the decision making regarding this refractive surgery, corneal refractive surgery, can be quite challenging. And this is where the role of refractive surgery with simultaneous cross-linking comes into play. These procedures are known as extra procedures or plus procedures. So depending upon the procedure, whether PRK, LASIK or SMILE, they are called PRK extra, LASIK extra and SMILE extra respectively. But we see that a lot of surgeons are hesitant in adapting to these procedures because of certain reasons. Firstly, the eligibility criteria are not clearly defined. Also, the cross-linking protocols are not very clearly defined. Different surgeons are using different protocols. So it's not sure which protocol really works and which doesn't. And there could be a chance of potential side effects such as haze, which can affect the visual results. And also in the long term, a chance of having a hyperopic shift due to the cross-linking. And it also increases the overall cost of the procedure. Due to these reasons, these procedures are not really very popular. However, in our experience with SMILE Extra procedure, which we published in 2015, we found at the end of 1 year that there was no loss of BCVA, and the procedure was quite stable, and its stability was as good as the routine SMILE procedure. So decision making for extra procedures. So specifically for SMILE Extra, this is the algorithm which we follow, and we are also going to publish this in IGO very soon. So what you have to essentially see is look for some risk factors if they are present or not. So most importantly, age less than 30 years, spherical equivalent more than 6 diopters, a suspect topography, but of course not keratoconus. Thinnest pachymetry less than 4.8, 480 or less is again a risk factor. A residual bed thickness between 250 to 280 microns. CBI and TBI parameters more than 0.5 and bad D more than 1.6. Or if there is any positive contributory history such as a family history of keratoconus or a history of allergic eye diseases. So if there are 2 or more of these risk factors present, then it is recommended that a simultaneous cross-linking should be performed along with the corneal refractive procedure of your choice. You can also look at Randleman's ectasia risk scoring system and PTA metric. However, these are optional and not essential. The criteria which I have just discussed are what we are following. So regarding the procedure, it's very simple. You just remove the lenticule from the pocket, and after that, you inject 0.1 milliliter of riboflavin. Now, this riboflavin should be, the strength should be 0.25% in saline without dextran, and this should be applied to the interface for 60 seconds, and then it should be washed. And finally, the eye is exposed to ultraviolet A radiation at 45 milliwatt per centimeter for 75 seconds through the cap, and the total energy thus delivered is 3.4 joules per centimeter square. So now coming to how Pentacam would help us in decision making for refractive procedures, for extra procedures, and I'm specifically talking about SMILE Extra here. So we all know, we have also discussed about the Bellin Ambrosio enhanced display map, which combines both the anterior and posterior elevation as well as the pachymetry data to provide a 3D representation of the corneal shape, which is then compared to the standard database of controls and keratoconus, and thus it enhances the detection of keratoconus. So the cutoff value is more than 1.6. If it is more than 1.6, then it could be a suspicious cornea. So this is, we already know. But in addition to the Pentacam bad D, now we have integration of Corvis ST with the Pentacam, and this has given us addition additional indices such as the CBI and TBI. CBI is Corvis Biomechanical Index and TBI is Tomographic Biomechanical Index. So CBI essentially is a comprehensive biomechanical screening tool for keratoconus detection, and this is based on corneal thickness profile and deformation parameters. The normal value of CBI is within 0.5. The TBI integrates Pentacam data along with the biomechanical analysis and uses artificial intelligence to optimize the detection of ectasia. And the normal value of TBI is within 0.29. So let us look at some case scenarios where with the help of combined tomographic and biomechanical data, how it helped us in the decision making. So this is case 1, 26-year-old male, high myopia of 6.5 spherical equivalent and a thinnest pachy of 516. So if you just look at the curvature map and the corneal thickness map, they look pretty normal here. The RST also is above 300. So if you just see the quad map in this case and just do a calculation of RST, you would think that it's a normal routine case. I would just want to go ahead with the SMILE or LASIK procedure. But only if you look at the BAD as well as the CBI and TBI, you see all the three parameters are not normal. So BAD is high 1.68, CBI is high 0.73, and TBI is also on the higher side. So, and if you look at the keratoconus staging, it is within normal. It is A0, B0, C0. So it is not a keratoconus, but it is borderline cornea due to high indices of BAD, CBI, and TBI. And in this case, this is a perfect case to perform SMILE extra. So in this case, we performed SMILE extra. And then this is case second, 25-year-old female. Now she has a low myopia, 1.75 sphere. Pachymetry is fine for the refractive error. RST is also very good, 373 microns. And if you just look at the curvature map and thickness map, they are absolutely normal looking. But only if we see the BAD is 1.96, quite high, and the TBI is 0.68. So it gives us a kind of an alert that this may not be an absolutely normal cornea. Although it looks like normal, the pachymetry is good for the refractive error, but only because of these parameters being on the higher side, you would be cautious, and probably in this case, you may want to perform a SMILE extra or simply a PRK procedure. Case 3 is a 26-year-old male with moderate amount of myopia. Pachymetry is on the thinner side, so 485 micron, and the residual bed thickness is also fine, 295 is okay. But when you see the BAD, CBI, TBI, all parameters are high, and definitely in this case, because it's also a moderate to high myopia, and the keratoconus staging is also stage 1, so you would not want to perform a corneal refractive procedure, or just go for a ICL or do not do anything. So just quickly, I would want to discuss the results of a retrospective study which we performed recently, where we looked at corneal topographies of all the patients who underwent SMILE or SMILE extra from Jan 2014 to June 2018. And what we found was that a total of 4,600 odd topographies were analyzed, out of which almost 4,000 were normal and 698 were borderline. Now in this borderline category, 176 cases underwent only SMILE. So ideally, we should have done SMILE extra, but we did only SMILE for these, and 522 underwent SMILE extra. So what we found was that at the end of this study, all these patients had at least a follow-up of 2 years. And we found that none of the eyes in the SMILE extra group, where we did SMILE extra for borderline corneas, developed any ectasia, whereas 5 eyes in this group, which underwent only SMILE, they had ectasia. And also we had 2 eyes in the normal group where only SMILE was done, they developed ectasia. So this is very significant, because at the end of this study, with the results of this study, only we actually came to know that these borderline cases have to be taken very seriously, because all the ectasias which developed were only seen in the borderline category, which underwent only SMILE and not extra, and in the extra there was no ectasia. So based on the results of this, the percentage of extra procedures now in our practice has actually increased to up to 18 to 20%, and earlier it was about 5 to 8%. So this is how this study has helped. So to conclude, at least in our experience, Smile Extra is safe and effective for prophylaxis of corneal ectasia in the borderline corneas. And the advantages of combined 3D tomography with corneal biomechanics are that it increases the safety from the patient's perspective, because the risk of ectasia is taken care of. And also from the surgeon's perspective, it improves the efficiency and the confidence in decision making in these challenging eyes. Thank you so much for your kind attention.